Cutting frets on any musical instrument is a time when things can go wrong. You've got to get accurate measurements and you've got to be pretty precise with your cutting. I started off working by hand and got some reasonable results, but in the end, when you're working with 20 odd frets, then there's too many opportunities for things to not be quite right. So I decided quite early on to invest in this piece of kit. It's a jig which, used in combination with either a circular saw or crosscut saw, can cut you accurate fret slots every time and take all the heartache out when things tend to go wrong. I've stuck my piece of rosewood fretboard material down onto the mandolin jig with double-sided tape. You'll be surprised how often you use double-sided tape. This particular jig will produce up to 29 frets on an open string length of 13.78 inches or 352.425 millimeters. So it goes to actually show you how accurate things need to be. Typically though, you would actually cut about 19, 20 or 21 slots into your piece of timber. The jig works in this particular way. The slots are along the leading edge and you have a small pin placed in a fence, and then the jig drops onto the pin just there, and the very first cut that you do is for the nut. So I've actually placed the piece of wood where the nut will be, and so there's no need to make the first cut. But thereafter all you do is just move the jig along one notch at a time, cut, one knot at a time, cut, and you should end up with a whole load of parallel slots at the right depth, because you set all that up before you start, and all perfectly clean. The blade on this particular saw is one I bought especially for fret cutting. It comes out at exactly the same width as the tang on the fret. So it's something else you have to consider when you're buying your frets. You're buying your blade to get everything to be the same size. Okay, let's cut the first slot. We'll then check it for depth with a piece of fret, and then we'll continue to cut the rest of the board. Not much point in me talking while I'm cutting because you won't hear. What I'm doing is just checking the tang length to see if it's the right length, or the slot's the right depth to take the tang length. Yeah, that's fine. So here we go. I won't do them all, but you can see how quickly they're cut now, how neatly they're cut. Whole job should take about a couple of minutes, as opposed to probably half a day if you're doing it by hand and being extremely very careful because of all those sort of opportunities to go wrong. And all I've tried to do here is just eliminate the chances to go wrong.